And he said to them, "Take care and be on your guard against all covetousness, for one's life does not consist in the abundance of his possessions." And then he starts on the parable. And he told them a parable, saying, "The land of a rich man produced plentifully. Then he thought to himself, 'What shall I do? For I have nowhere to store my crops.' And he said, 'I will do this. I will tear down my barns and build larger ones, and there I will store all my grain and my goods.'" Okay, verse 19. Pay attention here. Up to this point, there has not been a problem. There's nothing wrong with building barns for more grain. But this is where the problem comes in. Verse 19. "And I will say to my soul, Soul, you have ample goods laid up for many years. Relax, eat, drink, be merry." What's he talking about? He's talking about being content. And it's not just being content, because being content as a Christian is a biblical thing. We should do that. It's being content without God. It's being content without God. So the next verse, verse 20. "But God said to him, 'Fool.'" Can you imagine God calling you a fool? That's a scary thought. "Fool, this night your soul is required of you, and the things that you have prepared, whose will they be? So is the one who lays up treasure for himself and is not rich towards God." That's the purpose. It's relational. It's not good to be content without God. It's good to be content with God. Be rich towards God. That's what he wants us to do. That's what Jesus wants us to do. Be content with what you have with God. So when he says in verse 20, back in Matthew chapter 6, "Lay up for yourselves treasures in heaven," it's the logical thing to do compared to verse 19, right? If everything breaks down here and it's not worth anything in the end, then logically, you want to search for the stuff that's going to last, right? That's what we should be doing. Search for the stuff that's going to last. So he says, "Lay up for yourselves treasures in heaven." So what is this treasure? Treasure is anything that you put worth and value in while you're living here on earth. It doesn't mean that it's in the earth, but we're encouraged to make sure that it's not here on earth, it's in heaven. So what is he talking about? Your treasure in heaven. Is it heaven itself that's worthwhile? I would say no. I would say it's the one who makes heaven worthwhile, who gives heaven worth and value. God. God is the one who gives heaven worth and value. Heaven is just the direct consequence of the unfiltered full presence of God. That's what heaven is. Think about Exodus chapter 3. Moses, when he's before the burning bush, remember that? What does God say to him? "Take off your sandals. You're standing on holy ground." Now, when God left, was the ground holy by itself? No, not at all. It was only holy because God made it holy, because of who he is and his nature. So heaven is the same way. It's not just putting your treasure in heaven. It's letting your treasure be God. That's who our treasure is supposed to be. Put value in God. That's the encouragement. Why put value in God? Theology 101. God is eternal. Alpha and Omega. First and last. He's never had a beginning. He will never have an end. He will always be. His name, Yahweh. It means I am. Or I am what I am. Or I will be what I will be. He's everlasting. He won't corrupt. He won't decay. He won't fade away. So compared to the things on earth, it's a no-brainer. He's everything that is good. He's everything that's beautiful. He's everything that's righteous. Brothers, sisters, when we put our treasure here, you know what we say to God? You're not enough. Far be it from a Christian to say that to God. Peace and joy, contentment, all of those good things that we long for can only be found in the person of Jesus Christ and nowhere else. Where's your treasure? Where's your heart? Now choose.